Germany and also Soviet Russia. And I think that's not where we need to be headed. We have to take back. Everybody needs to get involved, whether they're 5 years old or 95. We all can do something, whether it's supporting pro-life, whether it's supporting clean water, or supporting real issues that matter to people. And that's why I'd like your vote on for today. Thank you.
Dave, you have 3 minutes and 2 seconds.
Well, thank you. I come back exactly to where I began. And at the beginning of this, I said, we're all going to be conservative. And we all are. The question is a question of leadership. I'm 57 years old. I don't know if I've ever seen a time in America where we've had a greater need for leadership than what we have today. Now, what do I mean by leadership? I mean somebody who's not afraid to stand up and speak the truth no matter what the consequences are. Look at America. Look, our problems, folks, are not political. It's not Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal. Our problems in America are moral. We can't trust the people we put into office. We can't trust them. The President of the United States openly lies. Our representatives openly lie, and there is no consequence to it. We talk about the Constitution. I couldn't agree more on the Constitution. But the Constitution, folks, is becoming meaningless. They are not following the Constitution. I respect every person up here. You have no idea how difficult this is. To come up here and do this. This is hard to do. To take a position. It's hard to do. But you know, I face some really hard things. I face in the middle of the night after a football game, mommies calling me, wanting to know why their little boy didn't get the flag. That's worse than Nancy Pelosi. What I'm saying to you is this. Please understand this. It's about leadership. It's about leadership. We live in a time where status quo, republicanism, is not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. I'm going to say that again. It's not going to cut it. And no matter how much experience you have, and Fred's got a bunch, and Bob's got a bunch, and I appreciate Jeanette, and I appreciate all these folks. Folks, listen, I'm going to tell you something. As a football coach, sometimes you make specialty players. On the kickoff, we call them wedge busters. Guys who would run down the middle of the field and bust up the wedge. We need a wedge buster in Washington, D.C. That's the truth of it. Now, what you have to decide, two things. Who's the best wedge buster? Or are we just going to play status quo politics? I promise you this. I'll go to Washington, D.C., and both sides of the aisle are going to know who I am. And I don't care who they are. I will expose the corruption. I'll do all that I can. I pledge you my honesty. It's all I have. Let me go flip over some tables in Washington, D.C. God bless you. Thanks.
Bo, you have 3 minutes and 15 seconds.
All right, I got into this race because I am tired of slow-bleeding Republicans. What I mean by that is Republicans that have voted for tax increases in Ohio. We got 3 candidates that said they supported an unconstitutional amendment to the state of Ohio. Another candidate says she refuses to tell you how she voted on that. And then we have three more candidates up here that say they support Republican control of your health care. See, I'm not opposed to the Democrat control of our health care. I'm opposed to the federal government controlling our health care. And all 6 candidates up here say that they support the federal government forcing insurance regulations on the state of Ohio, which then will be forced onto you. See, if we give Barack Obama control of your insurance, how long do you think it's going to take before abortion is in your insurance package? And then we got 2 candidates that support the federal government controlling the internet. Well, so when there's problems, the Tea Party right up, they can shut it down. I thought we were in the Republican debate. But you know, this administration in Washington is bleeding away our liberties quick. It's waking up a lot of people. But if we send another middle-of-the-road, slow-bleeding Republican to Washington, it will not make a difference. Maybe you think what we need is a candidate, somebody, a tourniquet candidate, somebody that will work to stop the bleeding. There's some good candidates up here that I believe would work to do that. But for those of you that want a candidate with some bone marrow, someone who will work to restore the liberties to you, the people, then I'm your candidate. If you want someone that will fight to keep the federal government out of your doctor's office, then I'm your candidate. If you want a candidate that will keep the federal government out of our schools, then I'm your candidate. If you want a candidate that will stand up to this administration and tell them, no, they do not have the right to spend our children's money, then I'm your candidate. If you want someone who believes it is my God-given responsibility to take the liberties that we've been given and place them into the hands of our children and grandchildren and not into politicians, then I'm your candidate. I'm Bo Bromper, and I approve this message. May 4th, go vote.
Fred, you have 3 minutes and 15 seconds.
Thank you for being such a good moderator. Thank you for being fair with the questions. I'm disappointed I didn't get any foreign policy questions, but the fact is you've made a concerted effort to be very fair, and thank you for coming out tonight to visit with us. All the people up here are good candidates. In my opinion, any one of them would be better than Jack Space. And I'm sure you're probably sitting there thinking, I wish we could come up with an amalgamation, a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and we would have the ideal candidate. We are who we are. I told you I had a book coming out in about 10 days, and if you're familiar with agriculture, or farm, or cattle, you've probably heard of the name Baxter Black. He's a national cowboy humorist and poet. He wrote the foreword to the book, and he said some things about me that kind of surprised me a little bit. He said I was not duplicitous. He's the kind of guy you like to play poker with because I don't bluff. But he also said that I'm a person that leads with my heart. And I do like to talk to you from the heart. And he also said that I'm an honorable person and he would vote for me even if I was a Democrat. And that's a pretty high honor. I'm not the person that's going to stand up here and shout the most. I'm not going to pound my hands on the table the most. I have your attention. I speak softly. But if I go to Washington, I promise you that I will work hard to represent the best interests of the people in this district. The people that know me the best are the people that are my strongest supporters. We easily carry our home county in both the primary and in the general election. The groups that I work with are strong supporters. You should also know that I personify the American dream. I come from a poor family, big family. Although we were never on welfare. My father was a welder, worked at a local factory. We all worked extra jobs. In the good time, we had coal for the furnace. In the bad times, we burned green slab wood from Crouch's sawmill. We didn't have an inside toilet. But my parents told me, if you work hard, anything can happen in this country because we live in the greatest country in the world. I tried to do that. My parents were the first ones in our family to graduate from high school. I was the first one to graduate from college. This country has been very good to me. I want my kids and grandkids to have the same opportunities that I've had in this country. When you look at comparatives, juxtapose all the candidates together, which you eventually have to do, whether it's our website or through the literature, you'll find out that I'm the only candidate with military combat experience. I'm the only candidate with cabinet level executive experience, the only one that's been confirmed 5 times for the Ohio Senate, once by the U.S. Senate. Most of Barack Obama's czars couldn't go through that process. I'm the only one with foreign policy experience. I'm the only one with national security experience. Co-chaired the state's bioterrorism committee. My name's Fred Daly. I want to be your congressman, and it would be a high honor to represent Tuscarawas County in the U.S. Congress.